Elias stood in the middle of the great Varian hall, trying to calm his breathing. The walls around him were tall like mountains, flowing with blue mist. Hundreds of alien eyes looked at him from every side. Their bodies were tall, strong, covered with shining scales. They were warriors, and they were watching him with confusion. And now, anger. This was supposed to be a peace meeting between humans and the Varan race. A historic moment, a chance to end many years of fear. But something had gone wrong. Something small, something no one expected that it started when the Varan leader's daughter, Lyara, walked close to Elias to greet him. She was young, gentle, and unlike the other warriors, she had soft white scales instead of dark blue. Her eyes were bright, full of curiosity. She reached her hand toward him in friendship, and Elias stepped back. He did not step back once. He stepped back every time she moved toward him. It was small at first, almost invisible, but the warriors noticed. The guards noticed. The old council members noticed. And now every single creature in the hall stared at him like he had insulted the entire Varan race. Lyara stopped walking and looked at him with hurt in her eyes. She did not speak. She only watched him with a confused face, wondering what she did wrong. The Varan leader, a giant named Borak, slowly rose from his throne. His heavy steps echoed through the hall. His sharp eyes locked on Elias. "Human," he said in a deep voice. "Why will you not go near my daughter?" The hall went silent. No one moved. Elias felt every muscle in his body freeze. He could hear his own heartbeat. The air felt heavy, hot, dangerous. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Borak's voice grew louder. "You avoid her as if she is dirty, as if she is unworthy, as if you are above her. Explain yourself." Elias swallowed hard. He looked down, trying to stay calm. He tried to speak again, but his voice cracked. I cannot tell you," he whispered. Gasps filled the hall. The warriors placed their hands on their weapons. The air filled with the sound of metal sliding against armor. Some leaned forward, ready to attack the human if he said the wrong thing. Lyara took one small step toward Elias, her eyes trembling with confusion. Elias instantly stepped back again. The reaction was instant. Every Varan warrior roared in. The hall shook from their voices. Lyara herself flinched, hurt by the man's fear. She looked down at her hands, wondering if something was wrong with her. Elias felt his stomach twist. This was the moment he feared. Not because he insulted them, but because the truth. The truth was far more dangerous than the insult. Vorak growled. "Humans speak, now." Elias lifted his eyes. They were full of guilt, fear, and a strange sadness. "If I tell you," he said slowly, "you may never look at your daughter the same way again." Silence fell again. Heavy silence. The kind that feels like a storm is coming. Lyara stared at him with wide, scared eyes. "Why?" she whispered. "Why are you afraid of me?" Elias shook his head. "I am not afraid of you. I am afraid for you." The guards tightened their grip. The warriors whispered. No one understood what he meant. No one understood why a small girl could be a danger to herself or to him. But Elias knew. He knew something they did not. Something he had seen with his own eyes. On the ship that brought him to this planet, he had seen Lyara lose control for a moment. A moment when her emotions changed the air around her. A moment when the lights flickered. When the metal floor shook. When a strange force moved around her like invisible fire. A power she did not understand. A power she could not control. A power humans had no defense against. But none of the Varan knew she had this ability. Elias remembered that moment clearly. He had stood only a few meters from her, and he had felt something dangerous touch the air. Something alive. Something powerful dot since that day. He kept his distance. Not because she was dangerous to him, but because he feared one accidental touch could trigger that power again. And this time, it could hurt her. It could hurt everyone. But how could he tell this to her father? How could he reveal her secret in front of the entire council? If he did, they might fear her. Or worse, they might blame her. Elias looked up at Vorak. If I move closer to her, if I touch her by mistake, something terrible might happen, he said softly. Vorak growled. What terrible thing? Speak clearly, human. Elias stared at Lyara. She looked so innocent, so gentle. She had no idea what lived inside her. He looked back at the leader and spoke in a trembling voice. Your daughter? She is too pure, too powerful. If I get too close, I could trigger something in her. And I fear it would hurt her more than it hurts me. The hall remained frozen in, shocked that no one understood, but everyone felt the fear in Ilias's voice. Everyone felt the danger hiding. Under his words, everyone felt that something about Lyara was not normal, and something inside the hall was about to change forever. Asterisk. The silence in the Varen hall grew heavier, as if the entire room was holding its breath. Elias could feel every eye locked on him, waiting, judging, ready to strike if he said even one wrong word. The air felt tight around him, almost pushing on his chest. Vorak's voice cut through the silence like a blade. Human, what danger do you speak of? Elias didn't answer right away. He looked at Lyara instead. The princess stood completely still, her hands shaking, her eyes full of fear and confusion. She didn't understand why someone she respected, someone she wanted to be friends with, kept running from her. Elias could see her breathing turn shallow. She was scared, and that scared him even more. He remembered the moment on the ship. The moment everything changed. It was a small accident. Lyara was laughing with the crew, happy and excited to travel to the peace meeting. She held a small glowing stone in her hand, a harmless toy for children of her species. But when someone joked with her, her excitement suddenly spiked, and the air around her had shifted. It was soft at first. A light vibration, but then the lights flickered. The metal floor hummed, and the glowing stone shattered into dust. Lyara didn't know what happened. But Elias did. No weapon, no shield, no human technology could stop that kind of energy. It was raw, pure, and alive, flowing from her emotions. And now she stood only a few steps away from him in the crowded hall, frightened and confused. Elias felt sweat gather on the back of his neck. The memory was too clear, too real. Vorak stepped closer, towering over him. What have you seen, human? What do you hide? Elias finally spoke. I am not hiding anything to insult you. I am trying to protect your daughter. The warriors growled, thinking he was lying. Elias raised his hand slowly, not in defense, but in surrender. She does not know what she carries inside her, Elias said softly. And neither do you. A quiet shock passed through the hall. Lyra's eyes widened. What do you mean? I don't have anything inside me. But she did. Elias had felt it before. And now he could feel it again, faint but growing. Her emotions were shaking. A guard barked angrily. Human lies. Another pointed his weapon at Elias. He insults the royal child. Elias took one careful step backward, not because he feared the soldiers, but because Lyara had just taken a nervous breath. A tremor answered her. A soft vibration beneath the floor. It was faint. But Elias felt it. He glanced downward. A tiny line of dust rolled across the floor toward him. Lyara did not notice. But Elias did, and then he noticed something else, her fingers glowing faintly at the tips. A soft white light, so gentle no one else saw it, but he did. Vorak saw Elias's eyes widen and turn toward his daughter. Lyara, come here. She shook her head, tears building. No, I want to know why he fears me. Her voice trembled, and the hall trembled with it. The stones under Elias's boots shifted slightly, like something moving beneath the floor. He tried to speak calmly. Lyara, please. Breathe slowly. Think of something peaceful. Lyara blinked in confusion. Why? What's wrong with me? Her fear increased. The tremor grew. Finally, Vorak noticed the vibration and looked around sharply. What is this? What is shaking? A guard shouted. Is this human technology? A bomb? Elias shook his head quickly. No, it's not us. It's her emotions. She does not know she is doing this. Lyara gasped, stepping backward. Me? I'm not doing anything. But she was. Elias could see the light growing brighter in her hands. Her breath faster. Her fear rising like a storm. He tried again, gently, almost whispering. It's okay. It's not your fault. Just breathe. Don't be scared. Vorak turned to his daughter, seeing the faint glow for the first time. Lyara, what is that light? She looked at her hands and cried out, dropping them to her sides. The glow flickered but didn't fade. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. The tremors intensified. Cracks formed on the stone floor. Dust fell from the walls. Guards stumbled. Some shouted in panic. Some pointed weapons. Some backed away from her in fear. Lyara stood frozen, terrified. Make it stop, please. Make it stop. Elias took a step forward, his first step toward her. Not away. He spoke calmly. You can control it. You just don't know how yet. Listen to me. I've seen this before. I know what's happening. Vorak stared at him, shocked. You knew she had this. Power? Elias nodded. Yes, and that is why I kept my distance. Not because she is unworthy, but because she is important. Another tremor. This one stronger. The hall rumbled. Elias looked at Lyara, his voice soft but steady. Your daughter does not need fear, he said to the leader. She needs control. The hall shook again. And everyone finally understood. The human had not insulted their princess. He'd been the only one protecting her. Asterisk, the cracks on the floor grew longer, stretching across the hall like thin lightning frozen in stone. The warriors backed away, fear replacing their anger. Even the strongest Varen were unsure what they were facing now. Lyara stood in the center, shaking, her glowing hands pressed against her chest. Her breaths came fast and sharp, each one making the tremors worse. She looked like a child lost in a storm she didn't understand. Elias knew that look too well. He had seen it on a ship. Right before everything had gone wrong, Vorak pointed at the cracks. What is happening to my hall? What is happening to my daughter? His voice held fear for the first time, a fear greater than his anger. Elias lifted his hand slowly. It's not the hall you should worry about. It's her emotions. They are reacting to something. Vorak stepped forward, ready to grab Lyara, but Elias shouted, Don't touch her. Everyone froze. The echo of his voice rolled across the room. Vorak turned sharply. Why, she is my daughter. Elias shook his head. If she's scared and you touch her, the energy will explode. You will make it worse. And you could harm her? Lyra's trembling grew. She hugged herself tighter, trying to hide from everyone. I don't want this. I don't want to shake anything. Please stop. Please. Her voice cracked, and a deeper tremor answered. The walls groaned under the pressure. Dust rained from above. The guards panicked. This is too dangerous. Move her away. No. Hold the human responsible. She's going to destroy the hall. Weapons raised again, but their hands were shaking now. Elias saw the fear spreading like fire. If someone made a mistake, if they attacked, Lyra's emotions would explode. It would not be a fight. It would be a disaster. He stepped toward her again. Lyra, look at me. She didn't move. Look at me, he repeated, softer this time. Slowly, her eyes lifted. Tears strained down her face. She whispered, Make it stop. I don't know what I'm doing. Elias's voice stayed calm. I know you don't, and that's okay. But you need to trust me. Another tremor shook the hall. Everyone stumbled except Elias, who stood firm. He spoke louder now, to the entire hall. She is not dangerous by nature. She's reacting to fear. She senses something outside this hall. Something that is coming. The Varen warriors exchanged worried looks. Vorak frowned. Something outside. What are you talking about? Elias pointed toward the entrance. The shaking started before she panicked. I felt it first. That means something triggered her emotions. A distant sound echoed from outside like metal grinding, deep and sharp. The guards turned toward the door. A shadow moved beyond the entrance. Something large. Something alive. Something not Varen. And not human. Liara screamed as another tremor surged from her body. Elias held out his hand toward her, not touching her, but close enough to guide her. Liara, listen. You can control it, but you need to breathe steadily. In and out. Like this. He breathed slowly, exaggerating each breath so she could follow. Liara tried to copy him. Her hands flickered with light. The tremor softened slightly. Vorak stared at Elias in shock. You can calm her? Elias nodded. Because I've seen this before. Because I know she isn't the danger. Something else is. The hall door shook violently as another sound echoed from outside. Something slammed into the outer wall, leaving a deep vibration behind. A guard yelled, "Something is attacking the palace." Vorak turned toward the entrance. Shields. From a wall. His soldiers moved into formation, creating a line between the door and the princess. But Elias spoke again. If the enemy scares her more, her power will rise again. And this time, you won't be able to stop it. Vorak clenched his fists. He understood the fear now. His daughter was not the threat. The danger was whatever was trying to reach her. A heavy thud hit the door. A second. A third. The metal frame bent inward. Liara gasped, and the light around her hands brightened again. Elias quickly raised his voice. Eyes on me, Liara. Not on the door. Ignore the sound. Breathe. He stepped closer than he had ever dared since the day he saw her power. Her glow reached his fingers. He felt the energy hum in the air, warm and wild. Liara's voice shook. I'm scared. Elias forced a small smile. That's okay. I'm here. Nothing will touch you. Vorak stared, unable to believe a human was speaking with such calm in the middle of chaos. The door finally burst open. A tall, shadowed creature stepped inside, thin limbs, glowing red eyes, moving like smoke. The Varen warriors raised their weapons in panic. Liara screamed again. The hall exploded with tremors. The strongest ones yet, the warriors fell to their knees. Cracks split open across the floor. Light erupted from Liara's hands. Elias stood right in front of her now, refusing to step away. He whispered firmly, It's not you I fear. It's what wants you. Her eyes widened as she stared at him, and the creature at the door turned its head, not toward the warriors. Not toward Vorak, but toward Liara. The true danger had arrived. And Elias knew this was only the beginning. Asterisk, the creature stepped into the hall with slow, careful movements as if tasting the air with every step. Its long fingers curled like hooks. Its red eyes flicked from shadow to shadow, searching, hunting, focused only on one thing. Liara, the Varen warriors roared in anger. They rushed forward, forming a tight shield wall. Their armor glowed with defensive energy, weapons raised high, but the creature didn't flinch. It didn't even look at them. It only stared at Liara like it had finally found what it came for. Liara stumbled backward, shaking. What is that thing? Elias didn't answer. He had seen something like this once befriend a frontier of space. In old reports no one believed. Creatures born from unstable cosmic energy. Creatures that hunted beings with rare power. Creatures that sensed purity like a beacon. His heart thudded in his chest. He finally understood. This creature wasn't here to kill everyone. It was here to take Liara. Vorak stepped in front of his daughter, spreading his massive arms. You will not touch her. The creature tilted its head. A low, whisper-like sound escaped its throat, almost like language, but broken, wrong, unnatural. Liara flinched. Her fear shot through her body like electricity. Energy crackled around her fingers, white, bright, and growing. The hall shook again, harder than before. A pillar cracked. A statue fell. Warriors stumbled. Elias grabbed Vorak's arm. Get away from her. Vorak's eyes burned with anger. She is my daughter. I won't leave her. You don't understand? Elias shouted. Your presence makes her panic worse. The creature is frightening her. The more scared she gets, the stronger her power grows. Liara cried out as another burst of trembling power shot from her body. The floor split open, sending a spiderweb of cracks across the room. Light flickered in the walls. The creature breathed in deeply, like it was feeding on the energy. Elias froze. That confirmed it. He turned to Vorak, voice low but sharp. It wants her power. It senses it. It's drawn to it. That's why it's here. Vorak looked at Elias with disbelief. But she has no such power. She is a child. Elias pointed at Liara, who was glowing stronger with every heartbeat. She's more than a child. She's something rare. Something your people didn't know existed. Liara stared at her hands in horror. I don't want this. I don't understand what's happening to me. Elias approached slowly, carefully, feeling the energy buzz against his skin. Liara, you didn't know because no one told you. And maybe no one knew. But this power, this purity inside you has been there since birth. Vorak shook his head, his voice cracking. No, she is normal. She shattered a stone with her emotions, Elias said quietly. She shook my ship without touching anything. She is doing the same now. She is pure energy, pure emotion, and that creature can feel it. Lyra's eyes filled with tears as the truth crushed her. So, that is why you always stayed away from me. Elias swallowed hard. This was the moment he had always feared. I stayed away, he said softly, because if I touched you, even by mistake, I might trigger something inside you. And it could hurt you. Liara stared at him. Her breath caught. Her glow flickered. You were afraid for me, she whispered. Yes, Elias said. Always. Her glow dimmed slightly, proof she believed him. But then the creature hissed, stepping closer, pushing past the frightened warriors as if they were shadows. It raised its razor-like fingers. Elias moved instantly, standing in front of Liara, shielding her with his own body. The Varen Hall gasped in shock. The creature lifted its arm. Liara screamed. Energy burst from her like a shockwave, wild, unstoppable. The shockwave slammed into Elias first, lifting him off the ground and throwing him across the hall. He hit the floor hard, sliding against the cracked stone. Asterisk. Vorak roared in rage. Liara, control IT. But she couldn't. She was too scared. Energy swirled around her like a storm made of light. Her hair lifted as if carried by visible wind. The hall glowed bright enough to blind. The creature staggered but didn't fall. It dug its claws into the floor and crawled forward, drawn to her glow like a starving beast. Elias tried to stand, but his vision blurred. The energy had hit him like fire. Still, he forced himself up. He had to protect her. He pushed his body forward inch by inch, shouting through pain. Liara, look at me. She glanced at him. Her eyes were glowing white, filled with terror. You can stop this. He yelled, focus on me. Not the creature. Not the fear. She shook her head violently. I can't. Yes, you can, he said. Because you're stronger than you think. The creature lunged forward. Vorak prepared to attack. The hall shook like a living beast. And then Elias shouted the words that froze everyone. Liara, you're not dangerous. You're special. Her glow pulsed. Her fear cracked, and something inside her. Awakened. Liara stood in the center of the shaking hall, light pouring from her like a rising sun. But the light was not wild anymore. It wasn't screaming with fear. It was steady, confused, frightened, but changing. Shaping. Because something Elias said reached her. And you're not dangerous. You're special. Those words echoed inside her like a heartbeat. The creature hissed and lunged again, crawling low like a shadow slipping across the ground. Its red eyes locked on her, glow-hungry, desperate, starving for the power she carried inside. Vorak lifted his heavy weapon and roared, Stay away from my child. But before he could strike, Liara raised her glowing hand. Stop, she whispered. The entire hall froze. Elias froze. Vorak froze. Even the creature slowed, confused by the calm in her voice. Lyara wiped tears from her cheeks, her hands still shining softly. I'm tired of being scared. I don't want to run anymore. Her glow brightened, not wild, but controlled, gentle, pure. Elias stared with wide eyes. She was doing it. She was controlling the energy. The creature took another step, but Lyara lifted her other hand, palms facing outward. Don't come closer. Light rippled from her palms like tiny waves of air bending around her fingers. The tremors under the floor began to fade. The cracks softened. The hall quieted. Vorak watched in stunned silence as his small, gentle daughter stood with the strength of someone far beyond her age. Elias whispered, breathless. She's stabilizing it. Lyara took a deep breath and finally looked the creature straight in the eyes. I don't know what you want from me, she said softly. But you can't have it. The creature hissed again, louder this time, shaking the walls. It reached out a long, sharp arm, but before it could touch her, Lyra's light flared in a controlled ring around her body. A soft pulse of white energy blasted outward, silent, smooth but powerful. It hit the creature like a wall of wind. The creature skidded backward across the hall, smashing into a broken pillar. It shrieked, writhing, its red eyes flickering. The warriors gasped. Vorak stared in disbelief. Elias smiled weakly. See? You can control it. But the creature wasn't finished. It pulled itself up, body shaking, eyes burning with anger. It screeched, gathering dark energy in its hands. Lyara took a step back, fear returning for a moment. Elias forced himself to stand and moved in front of her again, spreading his arms to shield her. You'll go through me first. Vorak stepped beside Elias, towering over him. And me. The Varan warriors formed a circle around them, protecting the princess. Instead of fearing her, the creature screeched and leaped forward, black energy swirling around its claws. But Lyara didn't scream this time. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and whispered to herself, I'm not danger. I'm hope. Her light erupted one final time, a bright, controlled, pure flash that filled the hall with white brilliance. The creature froze in midair. Its dark body cracked like glass. Then it shattered into drifting dust, blown away by the soft wind of Lyra's glow. Silence. No tremors. No fear, only the soft sound of breathing. The hall was still. Lyra looked at her glowing hands and whispered, I did it? Elias nodded softly. Yes, you protected all of us. Vorak fell to one knee, overwhelmed. He looked at her not as a frightened father, but as someone seeing his child's true nature for the first time. My daughter, forgive me. I did not know your strength. Lyra ran to him and hugged him tightly, her light slowly fading back into her skin. The hall glowed only with the soft blue mist again. Vorak turned to Elias with deep respect. You knew? You understood her when none of us did. Why? Elias smiled faintly. Because humans, we protect what is pure, even when it scares us. The Varan leader bowed his head deeply, something his people had never seen before. Human, you have earned our respect. And our peace. Lyra looked at Elias with a shy smile. Will you stop running from me now? Elias laughed softly. Only if you promise not to shake the whole planet again. Lyra giggled for the first time, her glow fully gone. And then the hall doors closed behind them, sealing away the dust of the fallen creature. But all of them knew this was not the end. It was only the beginning. Lyra's power was awakening. And something in the universe had already sensed it.